conduct extensive policy dialogues on various national and international policy issues, in which obviously the foreign policy is one of the integral part of the public policies in terms of the international relations, which is a multilateral approach, and how the countries can bring a common agenda, which has to be a win-win situations for all the member states. And thanks once again for your presence. Highly obliged and pleasure. Thank you so much, Dr. Saab, for setting the course right. And ladies and gentlemen, and Foreign Minister, I would also like to share with you that in this audience today, we have been joined by an international hockey player, a star hockey player from Germany, Mr. Stefan, who has been a star in all times, a golden, hero of the hockey, and he's here to witness your talk as well. Thank you so much, Stefan, for joining us. Thanks, Stefan. Thanks, Ahmed, also. Thank you so much for joining us. So, before now, Excellency, Mr. Honorable Foreign Minister, thank you so much for joining us, and the floor is all yours. Share your insight. We would like to learn from you the first-hand experiences, the insight about the conflict, and of course, your vision for the future.
Thank you very much. Indeed, it is a pleasure and honor for me and my delegation from the Foreign Ministry of the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus to be back in Pakistan. We were here a few months ago to attend the OIC's special meeting on Afghanistan. And we were delighted for having been hosted by the Pakistani government and the Foreign Ministry. And I wish to express our appreciation once again. Now, years ago, when I was a career diplomat in the Foreign Ministry, I served in our London office for 5 years, during which time I learned a saying, which I will share with you. And it went like this. The other day upon the stair, I met a man who wasn't there. He wasn't there again today. I wonder when he'll go away. This, in a sense, summarizes the unfortunate situation of the Turkish Cypriot people. We are a people who have been discriminated against and continue to be discriminated against by the international community in a problem called the Cyprus problem. Now, what is this Cyprus problem? Before we can try to sort it out, to find a solution, we must first understand what is the problem. And that's how I shall begin. And I will ask everyone in this room the same question I keep asking everybody. According to the United Nations, there is the Republic of Cyprus that is a member country of the United Nations General Assembly. According to the European Union, the Cyprus Republic is a member country of the European Union. So I say, if there is a legitimate Republic of Cyprus with its legitimate government, and it's a member of the United Nations, and it's a member of the European Union, then please define to us what is the Cyprus problem you're interested to help solve. What is this problem? I reiterate, if there is a legitimate Republic of Cyprus with its government, and it's recognized internationally as such, what is the Cyprus problem? And this is exactly where the international community has betrayed the Turkish Cypriot people. Dear friends, the Republic of Cyprus that is recognized today and that has been recognized since 1964 is not this Republic of Cyprus that was established in 1960. The Republic of Cyprus that was established in 1960 was a partnership republic, a partnership between Turkish Cypriots and Greek Cypriots on the basis of political equality, co-founder partners, signatories to the agreements that established the Republic of Cyprus. And the nature of the Republic of Cyprus was such that the president was to be a Greek Cypriot, elected only by the Greek Cypriot people. The vice president was to be a Turkish Cypriot, elected only by the Turkish Cypriot people. But both had veto powers. Both having veto powers signifies the political equality of the republic. It was not a republic of numerical equality, but it was a republic of political equality. The cabinet was formed of 10 ministers, 7 were Greek, 3 were Turkish. But the cabinet could not take a decision on the basis of 7-3 majority by the Greek Cypriots. Because it was a political equality partnership, at least 2 of the 3 Turkish Cypriot ministers were required to give their consent. And the same system of separate majority was in the parliament as well. The Republic of Cyprus did not have a national anthem. It still doesn't have a national anthem. At its establishment, the Greek Cypriots were to use the Greek national anthem, and we to use the Turkish national anthem. This very day, if a foreign president was to visit South Cyprus, which is presumably recognized as an independent country, member of the UN, member of the EU, the national anthem that the Greek Cypriots will play is the Greek national anthem. So the Republic of Cyprus was not a fully fledged sovereign country. It was a qualified sovereignty. For example, the Republic of Cyprus could not be a member of any political or economic organization if both Turkey and Greece were already members there, were not already members there. For example, let's take European Union. Greece is a member, Turkey isn't. So the Republic of Cyprus could not have joined the European Union. This was the Republic of Cyprus at its establishment. That is why I start my presentations with the question, if there is a legitimate Republic of Cyprus, then please define to us what is the Cyprus problem you're interested to solve. With this kind of an approach, the international community is basically encouraging Greek Cypriot propaganda, which says the Cyprus problem is a problem of Turkish invasion and occupation, which started in 1974. That's how the Greek Cypriots and Greeks define the Cyprus problem, a problem of Turkish invasion and continued occupation. As such, their definition of the solution of the Cyprus problem is end the Turkish occupation, allow the Republic of Cyprus to extend its jurisdiction over the entire geography of Cyprus, and you solve the problem. Turkish soldiers go back, and Greek Cypriots extend their authority over the entire geography of the island, and you solve the Cyprus problem. My dear friends, that's not what the Cyprus problem is all about. If the problem began in 1974, as the Greek Cypriots claim, then why have there been UN troops on the island since 1964. 1974 did take place, yes. Eventually, Turkey militarily intervened because the Greek Cypriots and Greeks, the junta, military junta in Athens, had staged a coup d'etat, and the stooge, the president they put in place, declared union with Greece, union of the island with Greece. Greek Cypriot aspiration called enosis, union with motherland Greece. Because of this coup and the enosis decision, Turkey as a guarantor country. Now, when the Republic of Cyprus was established, there were three countries which were guarantors of this republic. Guarantorship, you would hear Greek Cypriots saying, in this day and age, there can be no guarantorship. It's not logical. It's out of date. Well, today, as you know, with the conflict and the war in Ukraine, Russia-Ukraine war, the international community is talking about guarantor countries for Ukraine. And Turkey is one of the countries talked about. So it was this guarantorship that saved the Turkish Cypriot people. Because once Turkey intervened eventually, after 11 years of tragic years of Turkish Cypriots, mass graves, annihilation, kidnappings, disappearances, all sorts of atrocities against the Turkish Cypriots at the hands of the Greek Cypriots, in the presence of UN troops on the island. As I said, the UN troops were on the island since 1964. The tragic years for the Turkish Cypriots were 64 to 74, when the UN troops were there. Ironically called peacekeeping forces. Turkish Cypriots experienced peace and security only as of 1974, when the Turkish army came. And we are thankful, obviously, to our motherland, Turkey. Turkey is our motherland. That's where we came from years ago. So I began with this, trying to explain to you that the Cyprus problem is not a problem of Turkish invasion or occupation. Cyprus Island is not a Greek island. Cyprus Island is the home of both Turkish Cypriots and Greek Cypriots. Cyprus Island was part of the Ottoman Empire for over 3 centuries. It was never a Greek island, though. But somehow, Greeks and Greek Cypriots have this distorted version of history, seeing the island of Cyprus as if it's a Hellenic island. And they don't see the Turkish Cypriots as their equals. According to them, we can at best be a minority in a Greek Cyprus. That, of course, we have never been, and we shall never be. That brings me to the point of saying the Cyprus problem is nothing other than a status problem. Who is who and who is not who on the island of Cyprus? It's a status problem. So long as the Greek Cypriots are treated by the international community as if they are the Republic of Cyprus, and they treat us as if we are a minority community of that Greek Cypriot state calling itself the Republic of Cyprus, there is no way there can be meaningful negotiations or there can be settlement on the island of Cyprus. We wasted 53 years, my dear friends. 53 years we negotiated with the Greek Cypriots under the UN parameters to establish a federation. I am sure everyone here can see the reason why there hasn't been a federation between two former partners. Because the Greek Cypriots are the state, we are the community, according to the international community. So if any negotiating process has any chance of success, it must be between equals. If there is a negotiating process between unequals, the less equal is destined to be dominated by the more equal. But we nevertheless, in good faith, negotiated for a federal partnership with the Greek Cypriots for 53 years. Eventually, in 2017, there was one final attempt in Cram, Montana. And the Greek Cypriots, again, refused any settlement, insisting that there can be no guarantee system on the island, insisting that Turkish troops should leave the island. And the process collapsed. As of 2017, Turkish Cypriot position, supported by motherland Turkey, is the future is going to be between two sovereign states on the island of Cyprus with equal international political status. In other words, one island, Cyprus, two states. And any form of partnership between Turkish Cypriots and Greek Cypriots is not on the table anymore. Neither federation, nor confederation, nor any partnership. The future can at best be two independent states on the island of Cyprus living side by side as neighbors, but hopefully with good neighborly relations. This is where we are since 2017. And of course, Greek Cypriots continue to reject this. Why? Because they are still spoiled by the international community, treating them as if they are the Republic of Cyprus, allowing them to impose all sorts of embargoes on us, discriminating against us, denying our sovereignty, denying our identity, and expecting us to bow to their pressure to accept Greek Cypriot domination. That we never did, that we shall never do. TRNC is not a recognized country, as you know, but for us, our motherland, the most important country in the world, recognizes the TRNC. From day one, since 1963, when the initial military attack against the Turkish Cypriots began in December 1963, motherland Turkey has been there in every sense of the word to support the Turkish Cypriot people and to prevent the Hellenization of the island of Cyprus. So in a struggle we began back in 1963 for survival, for preventing Greek Cypriot domination. In 2022, we are now in the form of a state, Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, with 27 offices around the world, one of which is in Islamabad here. And we are thankful for the way the office is treated by the Pakistani officials, as if it is a fully fledged, recognized embassy. And I keep saying that the only other embassy, the only other office we have that is treated like this is the one in Ankara. So I wish to express our appreciation once again. Pakistan is our brotherly country. When we come here, it's not as if we are visiting a foreign country. Turkish Pakistani relations have throughout history been brotherly relations, each country respecting and supporting the other the way it should be. And it applies to Turkish Cypriots as well. So, this is going to be a monologue, so I will stop here and expect questions so that it turns into a dialogue.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Excellency.
you. I think His Excellency, I think just like a professor of international relations, highlighted the problem statement and all the research to be conducted in accordance with the problem statement. He has rightly mentioned if the legitimate Republic of Cyprus is there, so what is the problem? What is the Cyprus problem? That is his whole talk revolves around this aspect in terms of the status problem, which is basically a status problem.
This is a status problem.
So all of you are welcome to please introduce yourself and be specific about your question. Preferably no comments, more questions.
Let's begin. Yeah, Salman?
Yes, thank you very much. Actually, my parents are from Pakistan, but I live in Germany, and I was born in Germany. And I worked for the German government, for the German parliament for 16 years. And we had this problem in Germany in the parliamentary committees and the European Relation Committee. Now, Turkey and Greece are both members of NATO. Greece is a member of the European Union. Turkey is not. And quite often we have the reason why Turkey is not a member of the European Union because of the Cyprus problem. That's what other European countries say. But I think at the end of the day, it's not only the Cyprus problem, it's also other problems why Turkey will never ever be accepted as a member of the European Union. We have to be very honest about that. In which framework do you see a solution of this conflict? Is it the UN framework? Is it the European Union framework? Is it the NATO framework? Because what I hear very often from the German side is that this conflict was always a very, very poison conflict in 1974 when it was clear that Nixon is going to fail and the Watergate thing happened. Then Turkey invaded because they knew that the United States is so paralyzed that they cannot act. So that was seen as a very unfair act of the Turkish side. Could you tell us a little bit how you see a solution and under which umbrella and which framework?
Well, thank you. Now, one small correction. When you said Turkey invaded, Turkey militarily intervened using her rights as a guarantor country. This guarantorship meant and still means if the state of affairs on the island is threatened, the guarantor countries, either jointly or unilaterally, has the right, the duty to intervene and restore the state of affairs. So that's exactly what Turkey did in 1974. As I said, the military junta in Athens staged a coup d'etat against Makarios, Greek Cypriot president, and a well-known Turkish killer, Nikos Samson, was placed as the president, and he declared that enosis has been achieved, union with Greece. 5 days later, on the 20th of July, Turkey, using her rights and duties as a guarantor country, intervened and prevented the Hellenization of the island, prevented the total annihilation of the Turkish Cypriot people. Now, Germany, very interesting, because, as you know, Greek Cypriots were made members of the European Union in 2004 when the enlargement took place of 10 new members. one of which was presumably the Republic of Cyprus. The wrong name, one of which was the Greek Cypriot Republic, calling itself the Republic of Cyprus. What really took place was Germany needed the enlargement, the membership of the backyard countries, and Greece threatened to veto the enlargement in case Cyprus was not made a member. And Germany did not wish to see the enlargement being vetoed for its own interests, went along with it. And Greek Cypriots were made members in 2004. For European Union, I said this earlier today, the Cyprus issue is an issue they should be ashamed of. Because I'm sure everybody here knows that for European Union membership, there is Copenhagen criteria. Criteria that has to be met by applying countries. One of which is zero problems with your neighbors. And Greek Cypriots in no way met the standards required by the Copenhagen criteria. As I said earlier, there have been UN troops on the island since 1964. An unresolved Cyprus problem, a border going across the country east to west, and the European Union had the audacity to say Cyprus, so-called, was the best among the 10 candidate countries. That's why I say European Union should be ashamed of itself. It violated its own criteria in order to appease one member, with all due respect, Germany, because Germany wanted the enlargement. So, we have been criticizing the European Union for having done this. And you're right, European Union countries use the Cyprus problem as an excuse to keep Turkey out, but that's just an excuse. If it wasn't for Cyprus, they would have many other reasons,
Kurdish.
all sorts of. So, both the United Nations, in my view, and I openly claim this, both the United Nations and the European Union are no longer able to claim to be actors to help solve the Cyprus problem. The United Nations made the initial mistake of allowing a purely Greek Cypriot state, contrary to the international agreements that created the Republic of Cyprus, to sit in the General Assembly as if it is the Republic of Cyprus. And because of this mistake of the UN, in 2004, European Union, acting on the assumption that there is a legitimate Republic of Cyprus, a member of the European United Nations, made them a member. So these two organizations have no hope of helping to solve the Cyprus problem. They are the problem. Anybody who treats the Republic of Cyprus as if it is a Greek Cypriot state, leaving us out as a community of that republic, has no chance of contributing to help solve the problem. If there is going to be a peaceful future on the island, it can only be on the basis of two separate sovereign states with good neighborly relations.
The soft border.
No longer partnership. We experienced the partnership. The Greek Cypriots don't hide their national aspirations. They openly declare that this is a Hellenic Cyprus. Turkish Cypriots can only be a minority like the Armenians and the Maronites. And since we are not going to accept any such status, that is why I say the Cyprus problem is a status problem. It's not an economic problem. It's a status problem. It's a political problem. Today, because of the natural underwater wealth, gas and petroleum in the Eastern Mediterranean, there are those who say that they can be a catalyst to a settlement of the problem. There can be no such thing. Cyprus problem is not an economic problem. It is not a problem of how much money the Turkish Cypriots will make. It's a national problem. The Cyprus problem is not a problem of Turkish Cypriots versus Greek Cypriots. Cyprus problem is a national problem of the Turkish nation against the Greek nation's aspirations to turn Eastern Mediterranean into a Greek lake. So in the support of the Turkish Cypriot case internationally, obviously motherland Turkey is with us. We are as strong as our motherland Turkey is. Without motherland Turkey, you can be sure that there will not be a single Turkish Cypriot living on the island of Cyprus, like the other islands in the Eastern Mediterranean, in the Aegean. So, as I said, this is not just a problem between us and the Greek Cypriots. That is only a small section of a much larger picture. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. Yes, please introduce Craig.
Excellency, welcome to Pakistan. My name is Tahsin. I'm from Ambassador of Pakistan. And I've also served in Turkey in 2002 when the AK party took over. It was in the very first few months of this integration. I have a feeling that the Cyprus problem, which can be viewed from the point of view of the Europeans and from the point of view also, but it is quite blatant that it has a communal or a religious undertone, which we from here Pakistan view when we look at Kashmir, for example. We find that the Hindu minority in Kashmir is being Christianized as compared to the predominant majority of Muslims who are being penalized. Turkey as the motherland country is, of course, behind Cyprus. But Turkey has made huge strides under the AK party since 2002, and it's 20 years, mashallah. You're still a candidate country or not? I would just want to know, and how far are you still wanting to go into the European Union with the same zeal and vigor as you were trying to earlier on? Or are you now actually way better than the European Union and don't have that great urge to go into the European Union? Because the European Union is a very partial, very, as you rightly yourself said, it has distorted its own rules of behavior to support the Greek Cyprus.
Thank you, my dear friend.
I just have my crowning question is that how do we, which is basically, you're not east of Suez, but you're almost east of Suez. So how do we, and especially the Muslims, and since we're close to the OIC meeting, which is taking place tomorrow here, how do we put our act together?
Yes, well, thank you. To begin with, I have never been a supporter of European Union membership for Turkish Cypriots. Never. The main reason being that I am not interested to be a member of any international organization if Turkey is not already there. So European Union with Greece as a member and Turkey not, it's not a safe haven for Turkish Cypriot people. No, I have never supported it. But there have been Turkish Cypriots who did and who still are interested in it. That's not a wise, healthy way to move forward. OIC. I have been attending OIC foreign ministers meetings for years now. And every meeting we secure very positive resolutions expressing full solidarity with the Turkish Cypriot people, calling on member countries to do their best to support the better relations with the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. On a piece of paper, you read it, it's perfect. How much is implemented? Nothing. Is this a surprise? No. Every single member of the OIC is, in a way, within the sphere of influence of a major Western country, either America, United Kingdom, Russia, China, France, to name some. And when you name these, what are these countries? They are the members of the permanent members of the UN Security Council. And these countries supposedly have the duty to provide international peace, security. But when you analyze any conflict we experience, like the one today, Ukraine and Russia, who is behind this conflict? Who is agitating it? It's at least one of these 5 countries, either Russia or America or China or France or the UK. So this gives a huge significance to the statements of President Erdogan when he says the world is larger than the 5. Of course, the world is larger than the 5, but the present system of the United Nations, decision-making structure of the United Nations, is making the 5, or not just the 5, even one member of the 5, bigger than the world, because any resolution in the Security Council, if vetoed by one of the 5, it doesn't go through. So how what can we expect from the present structure internationally of these organizations? United Nations, presumably it's an organization that ensures international peace and cooperation and human rights and all of that. Same goes true for the European Union. But with this sort of membership and with this sort of decision-taking structures, we're wasting our time. I wish I could answer your question in a more positive manner, but that would be wishful thinking. Reality is that there are huge difficulties in front of us. Thank you.
Thank you. One last
Ji.
question.
Ji, please.
One last. One final question. Is this
जी बताएं नाम अपना
Assalamualaikum. My name is Sayyid Jad and I'm gold medalist from this institute in public policy. My question is related to the concern of Cyprus, but before asking this question, I just want to take your concern as far as you're representing that in our country. That what is your concern about the relatively Kashmir issue for Pakistan? What is your take on it? After this answer, I can ask my question. So I just want to know the answer on this. That's why I will relate my question with the issue of the Cyprus and Turkey is facing. Because I think that both the issues are relatively comparative with each other. As far as we are facing the issues of Kashmir, I want to hear, as a national ambassador of Turkey, you are in our country.
Okay.
What is your permanent take on this particular issue?
Thank
Then
you.
I will ask a question.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, needless to say, obviously, it is quite clear where both motherland Turkey and Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus stand on the Kashmiri problem. But no, there are no conflicts around the world that are absolutely identical. Each problem is a sui generis problem. There may be similarities, yes, but I cannot say the Cyprus problem is exactly identical to the Kashmiri problem. The Pakistani brothers are disadvantaged, are discriminated against in the Kashmir situation, and we are the ones discriminated against on the Cyprus situation. So rest assured that the Turkish nation, either mainland Turkey or Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, we are with the Pakistani people on the Kashmiri problem.
Can I ask my question right now?
No,
You then elaborated.
yeah, no counter question.
No, he said he was going to ask his question.
I asked my question that
After
on the basis
my
of
answer.
Okay.
So you said that the people of Cyprus have no other choice after that they are the citizens of Turkey. You were saying
Sorry?
that they belong to Turkey, and you think that the entire domain, what is the concept, whatever the problem is, the people of that particular region belong to Turkey. There is no other choice.
I didn't say that.
There was.
I said motherland Turkey
Yeah.
is our source of security and support from day one to this day.
You own the people of Cyprus under your own nationality, or you will allow them to go for an independent state on the basis of their own freedom, and they take an independent entity from that. Is it possible?
Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus is an independent country.
आप गलत समझ
We
रहे
are
हैं,
not
वो
part
सब-
of Turkey.
They are not the part of it.
You are mistaken. Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus is a separate state. It's an independent state established in 1983, but we have been ruling ourselves as of 1963 after the Greek Cypriot military onslaught against us took place. We have, in various stages, in various formations, we have been self-ruling ourselves with the help of motherland Turkey. But what I said was not we are part of Turkey. What I said was without Turkish support, you wouldn't find one single Turkish Cypriot alive on the island of Cyprus. TRNC is an independent country with special ties with its motherland, Turkey. No one is going to upset those special ties. Turkey for us is not the United Kingdom, is not France, is not Germany. Turkey is our motherland. And we shall go every step along the way with our motherland, Turkey. We have no ego contention saying we are independently behaving from Turkey. In the Eastern Mediterranean, my dear friend, Greek Cypriots are not behaving independently from mainland Greece. Turkish Cypriots are not behaving independently from motherland Turkey. This is the reality of the region. But that does not mean the TRNC is not an independent state.
Thank you.
so
No
much,
more
Vijay.
betting.
Thank you so much. You have to
No,
study a lot.
more.
First of all,
Acha,
thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. You have to study a
No
lot.
more further argument on this
Exactly.
issue. Acha, anybody else?
Yes, no,
Yeah,
I think
please.
that we can have a group photo together.
Last
Oh,
question.
last question.
You or you decide between you. Acha.
Either.
But a short question.
Short, crisp.
आप लोग
No
you
arguments, please.
Sir, what is your opinion on the United Nations bombing countries in the Balkans and other parts of Europe in terms of ethnic conflict, and how does that relate to what's happening in Cyprus in terms of the Turkish
Well, I think I already touched upon this. The major powers, major Western powers, are behind every conflict we can talk about. This is true in the Balkans, it's true in the Middle East, it's true in Russia and Ukraine case. Western countries are interested only in their national interests. They don't care if they are discriminating against the Pakistanis, the Turks, the whoever. What's important is for their national interests to be served. So what we must do is to, being aware of this reality, to better establish relations with our allies and to keep in touch with the statement of Erdogan that says the world is bigger than the five. If we can establish solidarity along those lines, then there can be hope for the future. But this is a long road. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's a long road. We must be decisive. We must know where we stand. We must know what the problems in front of us are, who is behind those problems, and prepare accordingly.
Thank you so much, Excellency. Thank you so much, Excellency, Foreign Minister, Mr. Tahsin, for your
My pleasure.
presence. I mean, this was such an important conversation that we really need to have. And of course, I would request young people to study, to understand, to explore and research a lot about the positions and what are the challenges that the Turkish Cyprus people are facing. This is a moment that we can begin our conversation. I would request the delegation and the organizer to have a group photo, and then we'll move on
With
for
pleasure.
the souvenir.
Sure.
Excellency, please.
Thank you. Please join.
Thank you.
For,